problems where we are defining one variable in terms of another. Okay, and what that means is that we have two unknowns happening. There are going to be two things that we don't know what they are, but they are somehow going to relate to each other. Okay, so let's say you don't know how much money I have, and you don't know how much money Braden has. But I'm going to tell you that Braden has $2 more than me. Right? All you need to know is know how much I have to be able to decide how much Braden has. Right? Because they're linked because we know how much more than me he has. Okay? If we know our key terms from yesterday, we are literally just adding one small new piece today because everything else just falls back to what we were doing yesterday. So let's look at this first problem. The perimeter, what does the word perimeter mean? Distance around. So remember how we practiced that in our first unit and I said we would need it later? Here we go. Okay, the perimeter, the distance around a rectangle, is 58 inches. We want to find the dimensions. What does the word dimensions mean? Okay, find the side lengths, find the length and the width. If the length is 5 inches longer than the width. Okay, whenever we read a story problem like this, okay, we should agree that it's asking us to find two things. Right? It's asking us to find the dimensions, plural, two things, the length and the width. Step one that we want to do every time, okay, is we are going to define a variable for either the length or the width. There isn't a correct answer, but I am going to tell you that it's always easier to define whichever one we read second. And you're like, well, read second where? Okay, it is all based on one important piece. Whatever our two unknowns are and how they are related together. So would we agree if we look up here, right here, the length is 5 inches longer than the width? Do we agree that that tells us how the two are related to each other? So if we knew one, we would be able to easily mathematically find the other. Okay, I'm going to call that like our comparison phrase. Okay, so when we get to step one, you want to look at this comparison phrase and decide, like not mathematically, not overthinking it, like literally physically placement of words. We don't know the length and we don't know the width. Which one of those words comes second? Width, right. But when I'm speaking, which one of those words do I say second? I say width second. So that's what we are going to define first. So we are going to let, that is not how you spell width, width equal whatever letter we want to let it equal. So you can decide to pick Q because you feel sad for it. You could decide to pick L, but I think that would be a really poor choice. There's probably a smart letter to pick here. Which one should we probably pick? W. So we'll let width equal W. Why? Because width starts with W. Okay, step two. I question myself on this writing every single time. I mean, we're gonna write an equation, but it's based on the comparison piece, which is an expression. Either way, okay? We are gonna write an equation for whichever one we didn't define from up here. And we are gonna do this by literally using our basic translation rules where we underlined. Okay, so length. So we are going to write down the word length. Is. What am I going to write for the word is? Equals. 5 inches longer. Is longer going to tell us to add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Add. Okay, so I'm going to do 5 plus the width. How am I now representing the width? W. So all I did was take that phrase that I highlighted and I wrote it out as an equation. Okay, the length is 5 more than the width. Does that make sense? Questions on where that came from? Okay, once we do that, my pen, I don't understand why it's on in some places and off in others. It's so weird. We are going to write an equation to represent whatever is then happening in the problem. This specific problem happens to be talking about perimeter. How do we find perimeter of a rectangle?
Plus width plus length.
Right? Length plus width plus length plus width. Or we could say 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. Or we could say 2 times the length plus width. Either way, we need to think about adding up all the sides of the rectangle. So here's a way my students like to think. That's a terrible rectangle, but pretend. What is one of my side lengths? What's my width equal? W. Okay, so my width is now W. What does my length equal? 5 plus W. How many sides does a rectangle have? 4, right? So we said this same thing earlier in the year. So what's the measurement of this one down here? 5 plus W. And what's this one over here? W. So now let's add up all of those sides. What is W plus W plus another W plus another W? Okay, so I have 4W what's a 5 plus a 5? 10. Okay, so I want my 4W plus 10 to equal the perimeter of this rectangle. And what did the story problem tell me that the perimeter was equal to? 58? 58 inches, so I'm going to set this equal to 58. Questions on where that came from? Do we all agree this is something we know how to solve? It was just in the story problem up here. It told me that the perimeter was 58 inches, okay? So now I'm going to start solving this thing. So what am I going to do first to solve it? Subtract the 10. So 4W equals 48. Then what?
Divide by 4.
I circle the answer and I'm done?
You have to label it.
Inches.
Okay, so if I put a label on it, then I circle it and I'm done?
I feel like no, because you're asking. Yeah.
What does this problem ask me to find? Find the
Length as well. You have to.
dimensions, the length and the width. So this really isn't our answer. This is just giving us some information so that we can identify the 2 things that we need to know. To answer the question, we need a width and we need a length. What is the width going to equal? 12. Good thing we labeled it with a W. That made it easy to tell which one it was. What label is going to go on my 12? Inches? Is this one inches? What's my length going to be? What did you say?
46.
Not 46.
40.
17.
Where'd you get 17?
Because it says the length is 5 inches longer than the width.
We said the length is 5 plus 12. I'm substituting this 12 back in for W. So 5 plus 12 is now 17 inches. And if we were to add up 12 plus 17 plus 12 plus 17, we better get an answer of 58. And usually at this point, my students are kind of like, eh. I'm I mean, I follow what you did, but I'm not sure I would ever be able to do that on my own. Okay, so let's look at another one. It's gonna drive me crazy. Really gotta get that fixed, huh? The width of a rectangle is twice the length. The perimeter is 108 centimeters. Find the length and width of the rectangle. Okay, so first thing, what is this problem asking us to find?
Find the length.
The length and the width. So as soon as we know that it's asking us to find two things, we want to identify the comparison phrase. So what up here is our comparison phrase?
The width of a rectangle is twice the length.
There's our comparison of how our two unknowns relate to each other. Right? That comparison phrase is always telling us the relationship between the two. Okay, so here is our word length. Here is our word width. Which one do we read second? Length. So that's what we are going to define first. So our length needs to equal a variable. What letter would we like to choose? L would be a good one. I would suggest you choose a capital L or a cursive L so you don't think that it's a 1. Okay, so now we need to define our width. So we're just going to read and translate. The width of a rectangle is, what am I writing for is? Twice, what am I doing for twice?
2.
To the length. Because twice is multiplication. Okay, so here's our picture now. There's a rectangle. As you will all learn, I have no reference of what is width or what is length because I don't care. If you are a person who is very adamant that the width is always one direction, good for you. My spatial reasoning is severely lacking and I just don't care. It doesn't bother me. So this is now a rectangle. Okay, so perimeter. What are we gonna do for perimeter? Add up all the sides. Okay, gotta be really careful here. Don't let this trick you. What is L plus 2L? 3L. What is 3L plus L? 4L. What is 4L plus 2L? 6L. Are we okay with that being 6L? Do I have anything that I have not accounted for? I added everything together, right? There is nothing else for me to add on. So this is just 6L equals what? 108. Excellent, Vida, right? That's just what we're pulling from the story problem. Now what? Divide by 6. Let's solve this thing. Are we agreeing with 18? Do I just circle it and say I'm done? No. Right? This is just giving me the info I need to be able to answer the question. The question asked me to find the length and to find the width. Which one do I know?
Length.
Right? Good thing I chose L, right? That tells me that the length is 18 what? Centimeters. Right? A side length is always a single measure. What's my width gonna be? 36. Where did that 36 come from?
It says the width is twice.
Right? 2 times 18. How are we doing so far? We feel a little bit better about that one? So far so good? Thumbs up, thumbs down. Give me a rating on the scale. Where are we at? We're doing okay? We're doing okay? Okay? So now let's walk away from the square for a minute. Right, our goal is always sort of start at the beginning and then build our way up. I need you to pretend with me for a moment. Can we all just pretend? Like I said, we are building our way up. I'm picking a simple story problem with easy math that you could solve without having to write an equation. But I don't want to have to make this super complex since we're still learning the process. So stick to doing the process with me so I don't have to make the problem like really, really complicated because then it's too hard. Okay, so yes, I realize there are other things we can do, but we're trying to stick simple here. A pair of pants costs $30 more than a shirt. Together they are $55. What is the cost of the shirt and pants individually? Now, yes, I realize, right, we're buying one of each. We can do 30 plus what gives us 55, but just pretend. We're all pretending. Can we pretend? Okay, got it. What two things is this asking us to find?
The shirts.
Cost of a shirt, cost of pants. Two unknowns. And that's why our brain should go ding, 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 find a comparison phrase. So do we see a comparison phrase up here? Here is how our two unknowns relate to each other. Are we okay there? Which one do we read second? Pants or shirts?
Shirt.
Well, here's pants.
Oh, I
Here's shirts. Which one do we read second? Shirts. So which one are we going to define first? Shirts. Okay. Here's a funny Mrs. McKinney story. One time I was doing this story problem and I couldn't get my students to pay attention and they kept laughing and I was like, what the heck is going on? And finally one brave soul raised their hand and said, Mrs. McKinney, you forgot to write your arm. Oops.
Okay. Alright.
I really didn't mean to. I had no idea. I was so clueless as to what was
I
happening.
wonder how many kids pulled out their phone under their desk and took a picture of that.
They were too busy giggling. Are we okay with this being S? Okay. A pair of pants. So now we're going to define pants. Now, here you have to be a little bit more imaginative. Because do we read anything that tells us to put an equal sign up here? No. But can we agree that this is the same thing as saying that the pants are $30 more? And are is the same, just a different like conjugation of is? Right? So our equal sign is going here. I mean, the equal sign is always going after that second thing you're defining. Okay, $30 more than. Add, subtract, multiply, or divide. Add, because more than tells us to add. How are we doing so far? Now, this is not perimeter. So I don't want to do S plus 30 plus S plus S plus 30 plus S, because I'm not doing perimeter. What am I doing now? I'm going shopping, I buy some things. I'm not adding up sides, because it's not a perimeter. What am I doing with my shirt and pants when I purchase them? Adding the total up. So remember yesterday when we had words like combined? And I said, well, yeah, that means add, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Okay, here it is. Together, combined, total. This is telling us to add. Why? Because if I go to the store and I buy a pair of pants and I buy a shirt, they are going to add up the total. I mean, I would love if they subtracted it and I didn't have to pay as much, but it's not going to happen, right? They add up the prices. So we want to add up the shirt. How are we representing the shirt? S plus the pants. How are we representing the pants?
30 plus
Right? So I'm now doing the shirt plus the pants. And what should those have a total of? $55. How do we feel about that? Does that make sense of where that comes from?
Wait, I just spaced out.
Okay, it's okay. So we'll do it one more time. So to find the total, we want the shirt plus the pants. So this right here is my shirt, which is S. And this right here is my pants, 30 plus S. And together, I'm adding them.
I'm confused.
On what? Can you be more specific with that, or just where that equation's coming from, or what?
Like why there are two S's.
Okay, so if the shirt was $8, would you agree with me that if this was 8 and this was 10, I would do 8 plus 10? Okay, so my shirt is now S, and I need to add that to my pants, which is now 30 plus S. My pants is not a number by itself. My pants are two numbers together,
30 more than, okay.
right? So I need to represent all of the value that is the whole entire expression that is pants and the entire expression that is shirts, and I'm adding them together. Okay, so what is S plus S?
2S.
So now we have 2S plus 30 equals 55. Hopefully at this point we can solve. I've graded your test. I know we all can solve. We're doing fine here. Okay, decimal lovers unite. Here is your winning moment. Can I leave this answer as 25 over 2?
No.
No! Can I leave this answer as 12 and 1/2? No, why not?
Because you don't pay.
It's money! How do we talk about money? Decimals, decimal lovers, here's your chance! You're one and only. So we have shirt, we have pants. Why do we say pants is plural when it's one item? So weird. Right? A pair of pants, one.
That's so true.
Why not? English is a weird language, right? Because you have two legs, so we call it pants. You have two arms.
That's shirts.
English language is tricky. How much is the shirt gonna cost? $12.50, right? Good thing we used S. I'm using a dollar sign as my label. So how much is the pant? Are the pants gonna cost? Pants is a weird word. Now I'm all confused. $42.50. Because I did 30 plus the $12.50.
You know what else is weird? Why are they called apartments when they're all stuck together?
Well, it is an apartment complex.